Hi, my name is Albert, and my dad was taken by the Mermaids when I was little. Me and my family lived in a coastal province famous for its vast and extensive marine life. We lived in a small village where the majority of its residents are fishermen. I had 3 siblings who were all younger than me. Life was hard, but we never starved. My mom and dad did all they could to make ends meet. They had 4 kids to provide for, including myself. Our expenses grew bigger and bigger as me and my siblings grew older. Our school fee was starting to add to our bills. As the eldest child, I could see my parents struggling with life, though my younger brothers and sisters were unaware of our parents' hardships. They were just happily enjoying their childhood as they played with the other kids in our village. I kinda envied them. I used to help my dad a lot when he was cleaning his boat, which he fondly named the Macario. He said it meant to be blessed in Latin. He would share that bit of information to anyone who would listen. Eventually, things started to get better. The catches became better and better from the fishing trips my dad took. Soon my father was able to buy the fishing boat, the Macario. You see, my father didn't own his own fishing boat. The fishing boat he was using was owned by his friend, which meant his friend also got a part of whatever my dad made. But since he had bought it all the cash he was making in his fishing trips, all goes to him alone. We started to have better food on our table. Those expensive salmon fish that my dad used to catch a lot, but couldn't eat ourselves, were now on our plates. As the catches were getting better and better, Dad was able to buy a larger fishing vessel that needed a minimum of 4 men to operate. People started working for my dad as he took in fishermen on his boat to go on longer trips and farther areas in the ocean. When they came back from their first trip, their haul was one of the largest I had ever seen. There were fishes of different types, some that were new to me. Soon enough, we were the talk of the town. Everyone wanted to work on my dad's boat, since it meant big catches and more income. He started buying boats that could go further into the sea. He then allowed the other fishermen to use it on their own, as long as he got a part of whatever they were making. That brought in more cash for our family. I really admired my dad back then. I had seen how he had struggled with life as he tried to provide for his family. I had seen his hardship as he would go back home from his fishing trips, dead tired from work, but barely catching anything from his trip. I remember seeing his face as he would count how little money he had made from his catch. But look at him now. He had not only provided abundant comfort for our once dirt-poor family, but he had also provided jobs for his neighbors and friends as well. Then one day, he disappeared. He went out to sea and never came back. 10 days later, his ship was found anchored in one of the fishing grounds that he and his crew often went to. Some of the fishermen towed the ship back to our village. There was nothing out of the ordinary in the ship, except my dad was gone. There was even an unfinished meal and coffee in the lower cabins of the ship. My dad's crew went out to the ocean for days trying to find some sort of clue as to where my dad was. But everything was just too bizarre, and to be honest, they didn't even know where to look. They just aimlessly went around the area where my dad's boat was found. Stories soon spread about my father's disappearance. At first, it was just speculations on what had happened to him, but then they became wilder and wilder. You see, our village always had this folklore about mermaids and other such sea creatures. Stories on how the sea creatures could take people and bring them to their world beneath the ocean. Or stories that would scare children about sea monsters that would drag you down and eat you if you went too deep. Being in a fishing village, people had drowned before, more so when there's a storm, but it was a very rare incident. However, the case of my dad was the first. There was no storm. He had a huge boat that wouldn't easily capsize from huge waves, not to mention that the boat was found in calm waters. But most of all, the ship looked fine and untouched. It appeared that it was just abandoned. I couldn't get the image of his unfinished meal sitting in the table out of me head. People started saying that the good fortune and wealth that had befallen my father was from the mermaids. All those good catches when he went fishing was a favor from the sea creatures, and now they had come to collect, and my father's life was the payment. I couldn't take it. I considered it an insult to my dad. I saw how hard he worked for that success. Before he even became successful, he would always be the last one out in sea, even though he wanted to spend time with us. I saw how he planned to make better use of the money once the catches were getting better. His stories were unfair. For some reason, when I remember him from my memories, he would always look tired. It's been 4 years now since it happened. We still don't have a single clue of what happened. Even now, I would occasionally have a dream about his unfinished meal sitting in the table under the cabins of his boat.